Welcome, everybody. What a great day for the Tiger family. Started off with the Tiger Walk, 2007. National championship team was there. It brought a lot of energy to the football team. I'm glad that Coach Miles came to Tiger Stadium. I'm glad they had a great reception, which he deserved. What an honor it was to have him there. I'd like to thank our recruiting staff that's here. And this was a great recruiting weekend for us. We had a lot of our top players there. And these girls worked relentlessly throughout the weekend, and they're here today, and I want to thank them. They're a valuable part of our program. It was fun to be on that sideline with that football team. They showed leadership, true grit, determination. Coach, we got this. We're down 20-0. Nobody blinked. We started making plays. We believed in each other. At halftime, Russell Gage came up to me and said, Coach, we got this. They went out and do it, and I was proud of them. Some positives from the offense. Obviously, we made big plays when we needed to. Russell Gage's 70-yard run was fantastic. We strained to finish, which was one of our goals. 2-minute execution at the end of the first half. We scored a touchdown to make it 23-14, gave our team belief that we can do this thing. On defense, third down defense, we won 80% of the time. We finished the game, showed great grit and determination down 20-0. We held the quarterback to 2 of 13 for 6 yards in the second half, 64 total yards. You got to give Dave Aranda credit for the adjustments that he made at halftime, along with our defensive staff. I thought he was fantastic. He called the game with ice in his veins. One of the best coordinators, one of the best men I've been around. Special teams played a big part in our win. All of our coaches participate in coaching the special teams, and they work tireless hours in getting it done. We're 5 of 5 on our kicks with great protection. Auburn had a tremendous field goal rush, 3 of 3 for PATs, 2 for 2 in field goals, a 42 and a 36-yarder, which was fantastic. We downed the punt at 3-yard line, which led to a big stop and a game-winning field goal, playing field position the whole night. The 75-yard punt return was beautiful, great execution. Punt coverage, we held the return at 4 yards. And kickoff coverage, we held them to 19.5 yards per return. Things we want to improve on, we can fix on offense, ball security, first down efficiency, and missed assignments. Defense, execution, eliminate mental errors. Tackling, start faster and communicate better. On special team, the penalty cost us 27 yards of field position, and we lost 10 yards of field position on the punt. We're going to prepare this week. A very good Ole Miss team. A little scouting report on Ole Miss. They're a spread offense. Got one of the best quarterbacks that we're going to face in the country, in Shea Patterson. He's a tremendous quarterback with a tremendous release. Probably the best group of receivers we've seen. They're very explosive on offense, fast-paced, up-tempo. They're 4-3 on defense. They're going to attack. They're going to blitz. They got good players on special teams. This is going to be a tough challenge for us, a road challenge. We know what this game means to all of us. This is a rivalry game. Our team's going to be ready, but it starts today in practice. 24-hour rule today. Good, bad, or indifferent. We look at the Auburn game, put it to rest, and press onward to Mississippi. Any questions?
Ed, you mentioned first down efficiency and how that needs to improve. Where do you see, why is that lacking? Does it have anything to do with the inside run, running, maybe getting that better?
Yeah, obviously we want to get our run game better inside the tackles. And, we got some young guys in there that, sometimes they're going to miss assignments, but those are one of the things that we want to improve on offense.
Coach, you went over to Oxford as an assistant coach here at LSU in 2015, and some fans had some fun with you, and you just kind of laughed it off and like, hey, that's college football. Is that the approach you take coming in?
No question. This game is not about me. Again, I'll say this to you. I had a tremendous opportunity at Ole Miss. I didn't get it done. But the past is the past. This is way behind us. Me and my family have moved forward. I'm so happy to be an LSU Tiger. This is another SEC game. It's LSU Ole Miss. It means a lot. It has nothing to do with me. This is about the team.
Coach, is Justin the number 2 quarterback now?
No, not really. We do have some plays that we can do it. We can run with Justin, and we think that he brings a different element to our offense. So he would be considered to me like a wildcat guy. Put him in to do some of those type plays.
And we haven't seen Matt Luke yet at Ole Miss. Can you compare, contrast Matt Luke's Ole Miss to what we're used to with Hugh Freeze?
The same offense. Obviously, the same offense, and they have those good players, and they did a good job recruiting out there. It was the same defense. Their special teams have improved, so I think it's the same scheme without Coach Freeze being there.
Coach, over here. Couple of times, I know early in the season you talked about not taking silly penalties, taking too many of those.
Yeah.
A couple of times Devin White had a shot at the quarterback on a blitz, and then when he ran him out of bounds, and he looked like he was extra careful about not making a mistake there. Is that something that you think is finally
Sinking in. Yes. Thank you for noticing that. We talk about penalties. We have referees at each practice. The guys that have penalties, I think we had 6 penalties or 7 that they're going to run today. And they run a lot of gases after practice. Before we go out, each coach talks to his unit, and our goal is to have no penalties at all. And if it's close, we pull off. So that's what you're saying.
Ed Orgeron in that game, is that kind of what you were waiting to see from him? And what did you see in him?
He still has a ways to go. He knows that. He shouldn't have got that penalty. That was a big penalty right there. But that sack at the end, his pressures, he's down to about 253 pounds now as opposed to 270-something, making a difference. But you know what? You got to practice football. That's the only way to get better, and that's what you're seeing. And his attitude has been fantastic.
You think KJ might practice this week, Malone?
No, I don't think so.
Is he out, or how would you?
I think that he's questionable for a questionable amount of time.
Ed, staying on the offensive line, when you watched the film, what did you think of Sadiq and Adrian in there at the tackle spots?
I think they did well. A lot of times at the point of attack, they handled the physicality of the game. Their pass protection was good, but then again, sometimes they made some mistakes, and those mistakes are when everything is moving fast. A guy lines up here, and all of a sudden he's there, and I got to go get the linebacker. I'm pulling, stuff like that. We got to make a change in the line of scrimmage, things that would a veteran line wouldn't make. I think those guys are making those mistakes, but they're getting better at it.
Coach, you've had a chance to watch the film now. How would you assess how Eric Monroe did starting for
Did
John
well.
Battle?
He did well. He made some mistakes, obviously, but I thought as the game went on, he gained more confidence. Corey did an excellent job of coaching him. The other players, John Battle was coaching him on the sideline. And I think that the more he saw the formations, the more he knew the adjustments, the better he did as the game went on.
Coach in the middle. At different points this season, you've kind of been in an underdog role, maybe this past week. Other points, you've been a favorite. You're obviously going to be a favorite this weekend going to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Does the message to your team change at all this week, being a front runner as opposed to an underdog?
We don't talk about it. To be honest with you, we don't know who's the underdog, who's not. Since the beginning of the season, we fight, scratch, and claw every week. And this week is going to be the same thing. They're going to understand that we're going into a hostile environment. These guys are going to play their very, very best. I know that. But we're going to be prepared for that. And I think that the practice that we have this week, the work that we put in every day is going to show on Saturday. It's been showing for the last 2 weeks. That's what's most important to us.
Your other safety, Grant Delpit, gives up the early touchdown, and then it seems like he was everywhere after that. Just how well did he bounce back in that game?
You got to give it to him. It was a tough play on him. Now, he was supposed to have some help over the top. He didn't. But that's a little fake it outside and go up, and he's supposed to have help over the top. But he shouldn't have bit on the outside fake. But that's a mistake a young guy is going to make. We can't have those mistakes back there. But the thing that we told our whole team is, let's play the next play. what happened in the beginning of the season, we'd make a bad play, and it was lingering on 2 or 3 plays, maybe drives later, or maybe we didn't forget it. I think this team has learned how to forget the last play and move on to the next.
Coach, we know that LSU likes to build themselves as DBU. In a game like this against a guy who's going to throw.
Yeah.
How do you think your defensive backs are excited about that challenge? And
I will say this to you. I thought Dante Jackson and Kevin Tolliver played their best game last week, and that's good to see. And they know the stakes are high. They know the stakes are high for us as a football team. They know the stakes are high for them as individuals, especially going against the great receivers that Ole Miss has. So I think that they're going to be fired up. They're going to be challenged, and I think they end up doing a great job.
Coach, do you think that in a way, the loss to Troy made the last 2 weeks possible? And if so, could you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, we use it as a turning point. And I go back to several Mondays ago when we met with these 11 men in my office, and we threw everything out on the table, just like you'd throw as a family meeting. Just hey, let's tell the truth. What's going on? And we did. And they went tell the team. They went talk to the team. And we were going to have a half-hour team meeting. They had an hour team meeting. And you can see the difference in practice. But I think the true turnaround of our football team was on a Thursday. Duke Riley came. I was our MVP last year, a guy that everybody respects, watched us practice, and he lit into the football team like I ain't never seen before about things that were going on, things that he observed, and things that we need to get better at. And since then, our team has changed.
Coach, straight ahead. Going back to Dante for a second, I mean, the couple games or the games before this past weekend hadn't received a lot of targeted, not a lot of action. Obviously, he talked about staying focused every play as if he were going to get targeted, but that's easier said than done. How difficult is it to be able to turn it on like that in a big moment?
You got to play every play one play at a time. It's a cliche, you know what I'm saying? But at that position, we play man coverage almost every down. He's one-on-one. You cannot relax. But you know what? They threw some balls his way, especially on the last series, and he shined. Now, I know he wanted to pick that thing off for an interception. Maybe he'll get the next one. But I'm pleased with his – he's one of the guys that after the Troy turned it up. After the Troy game, I felt that he turned it up. He turned up his practice habits. He's been more vocal. He's been more of a leadership role, and it's showing on the field. And his fellow teammates follow him, especially – at the defensive backfield unit, and he's done a tremendous job of leading those guys.
Coach,
Ed, you're obviously doing something different than most teams, kind of without having a special teams coordinator. What do you credit the kind of across-the-board improvement from a few weeks ago to now with all your special
First of all, our special teams analysts, I always struggle with that word. And Greg McMahon, he's in the office at I believe 4 o'clock every morning and gets out of there about 10. And all he does is work on special teams. Then every coach meets with them, including me. He's the first guy I go see because he's in the office first. I go drink coffee. He has a nice little coffee machine in there, so we drink coffee and we talk special teams. And we talk about the roster. We talk about the personnel. And then we have a recruiting a special teams meeting every day at 1:30. He tells us what we're going to do. The guys take it to heart. They go install it in the meeting. We in the meeting. Greg's in the meeting, but he does not speak. He can't coach the players or the coaches in the meeting. Our special teams, our assistants do a great job of installing what he tells us to do. We go out on the field and we treat special teams like offense, defense. We work very hard on the fundamentals. We had a little technique, a very simple little technique where Greg found something on film where we can double team somebody, and we used a technique that he brought from the NFL, and Corey taught it to our punt return unit, and we did it, and we scored a touchdown. So the details of having somebody working on special teams all throughout the day, and then giving each coach a specific unit, and I know those coaches take pride in it. It's like they're their own little coordinator of that unit. And they coach it with energy, and our guys see it. Our guys are bought into special teams, especially the last 2 weeks, with the difference in the game.
Coach, more on Dante. You talked about how teams are kind of going at him now. 4 consecutive plays, he had a pass breakup. Have you ever seen a DB get 4 in a row like that?
No, not like that. I thought it was a tremendous job. And he is. We know he's a tremendous player. And, we have a saying, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. He did it.
Coach, do you believe the crowd impacted the game in the second half? Auburn was dropping passes. Seemed like they might have been a little shaken up.
No question. You could feel it. And I want to thank them. And it was a difference. And it was hard for them to get their singles off. They had a couple of penalties. It gave our guys energy. You can see the sideline. One thing I want to talk about is guys like Tre'Davious White on the sideline, Ricky Jefferson, Lyle Collins, Brandon LaFleur on the sideline, just giving energy, all the ex-players. The sideline was exactly what you'd want in an LSU football team playing with passion.
Coach, right here in the back, we've heard you say LSU takes pride in bump coverage. How do you feel these corners you guys have match up with some of these big physical receivers that Ole Miss has?
I'll tell you that Saturday night about 11:30. This is going to be a challenge now. They're big, they're physical, they can catch the ball. This is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the country. This guy's going to play in the NFL. He has a tremendous release. There's 3 receivers on this team that will be drafted in the top 3 rounds. They're very talented. This is going to be a challenge for us.
Coach, can you talk about Russell Gage, what he's done the last 2 weeks, and not only that, but on special teams, downing the punt on the 3-yard line? Could you make an argument that maybe he's, if not your best, one of your best players over the last 2 weeks?
No question. He's made a difference in our football team. Not only his playmaking ability, his leadership, his confidence, what's he doing in the meeting rooms, what's he doing on the football field at practice, what he's saying at halftime. Hey, we got this. Hey, we're going to do it. Give me the ball. And the way he practices on special teams, the things that he does when he doesn't have the ball in his hand, his blocking, his leadership has been phenomenal. In the last 2 weeks, you can argue that he's been our MVP, if we would have one.
Sure, Ed. After the way the kicking game went for a couple weeks, how much of a relief is it to not really have to worry about that at least as much this week?
Yeah. I'm proud of Connor Cup. I'm really proud of him. He went through some adversity like we all do. He answered the bell. I felt like the first field goal, he had it. And because he'd been kicking like that in practice, you can see his confidence level rise up. He's been saying things in the meeting with confidence. And so we're happy to see that. We still have a ways to go. We think we're punting the ball very well in field position. We're protecting very well. Now we're getting our return game. The punt return game is coming alive. We need to get our return game, a kickoff return game coming alive. But other than that, I'm proud of them. And I'm proud of the protection. That Jeff Grimes has done a tremendous job with our line in the protection.
You opened up mentioning Coach Miles. Probably not every coach in your shoes would be comfortable having his predecessor come back this quickly, and probably not everybody in his shoes would be comfortable doing it. Just what do you think makes you two guys different in that respect?
We've always had a great relationship. I mean, I always wanted to come to LSU. He tried to hire me before I went to Tennessee. When I was at Ole Miss, he was very complimentary of the way my team played. We'd go to Destin on trips. His family would be there. I remember when our kids were like that. It's kind of like we've been friends. And then he hired me to come here. I didn't have a job, so I'm forever grateful for that. And he moved me up to recruiting coordinator. And I've always had a great relationship with him and always had respect for the job that he did here, and that is never going to change.
Ed, you talk about a lot of things that you changed as a coach since you were at Ole Miss. Could you imagine if you didn't learn those things, if you didn't have that job, would you be here today? You know?
No. It was a stepping stone. It was something I needed, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the mistakes that happened there. And hopefully I don't make them here. I know I learned my strengths and weaknesses as a head coach. And then I learned how to hire guys that are good at what I'm not good at. And we're doing that here. We got some guys that are very strong in a lot of areas that I need, and I rely on them. Back then, I wouldn't do that.
I know it's been 10 years. Is there anybody there that you still talk to that's in the administration or just at the school at all? Is there any connection?
You know, I used to stop at the Exxon and get a chicken on a stick, and it was fantastic. And I hope that cook is still there, and I can stop and say hello to her. That's about all I remember.
This is in Oxford? Or,
Yeah.
Exxon?
Chicken on a stick.
It
was
good?
phenomenal.
It's good. Good chicken on a stick.
Best I ever had.
Ed,
Not better than Raisin Case.
Ed, one more. John Battle. How close was John to playing, and where do you see him?
I can see him practicing this week. I can see him being limited, but I can see him practicing. Thank you, guys.